I feel like, so we're coming sort of full circle here because we started with coronavirus and then we went to recycling and now we're back to coronavirus. And it's really full circle for me because I work for the city of San Jose in environmental services with Andy. And until a few months ago when I was deployed to the city's emergency operations center working on the pandemic, I was doing these Recycle Right presentations to neighborhood associations in part. And my pet peeve during the pandemic when everybody's been sheltering in place is we're all out exercising by walking around our neighborhoods and walking our dogs, and people are putting their poop bags in the yard trimming piles. And I just wanted to point out to people that poop bags don't go in the yard trimming piles. They only go in the garbage cans. So that's my little plug for Recycle Right and Garbage Right. So, but what I'm really here to do is to talk to you about the Virtual Local Assistance Center. Can I share my screen? Am I clear to do that?
Yes, you should be able to do so.
Okay. So let me see if I can get the slideshow going here. Is that going to work? There, can you see that, everybody? I can't hear anyone.
Yes, I can see it.
Okay, thanks. I wasn't sure if I cut out. So anyway, the Emergency Operations Center and the Local Assistance Task Force that got started in March, one of the big things that we wanted to do was outreach, especially to at-risk communities in San Jose, which are primarily in the 4 zip codes that Nora mentioned earlier. And so let's see, we put together what we're calling a virtual local assistance center. And the URL or the web address for that is sanjoseca.gov/VLAC. And within the VLAC, we've just put a whole bunch of different resources that aren't necessarily run by the city, but can help people with all the uncertainties that have come up with shelter in place and around unemployment or employment and so forth. So, okay, so now this isn't, this isn't advancing. Not sure what's wrong here. I may have to do it this way, I'm not sure. Can you see that as well?
We can. I think you can relaunch it, and usually the space bar or the right arrow, either one will let you proceed.
All right, I'll try again.
You could hit backspace to go back as well.
Okay. Okay, so that's working now for me. Thanks. So if you go to that website, this is what you're going to see. And we've got links to information on all these different topics. So information on food distribution within the community, immigrant resources that apply to both documented and undocumented residents, information around housing and evictions and so forth, employment and job training, which is mostly from our Work to Future group, which is sort of the city's career center, information around health and wellness, and then utilities and internet. And on that one is also information for people who may be finding digital access challenging, especially with kids trying to work from home. And all of these resources, all of these pages have been translated into Spanish, Vietnamese, and Chinese. So you can just hit these links right here if you would prefer one of those languages. We also have a contact form on here so that if there's information that you need that you didn't find here, you can write to us and we can write back. We also have live chat Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, and a number that you can call if you need TTY. So what resources did we include? So under food resources, we've put together a distribution, or we've put links rather to food distribution maps that can help you see geographically which sites are near you and what hours and what days they're operating, so that if you need to partake of that, you can. We've got information on CalFresh and CalWin, which are state programs, as well as on meal programs for seniors, such as Meals on Wheels and the Senior Nutrition Program. So that's gone sort of virtual at our community centers, and people can still go at lunchtime to pick up a meal to take home, but we're not having the sit-down lunch program that we've had in the past. And then we also have information about meals for kids. Under housing, we've got information about evictions and rent moratoriums and so forth. Some of this is state information because the state's got things going on in this respect, as well as the city and the county. What kind of financial assistance might be available for people. And then also support and shelters for unhoused residents. And then we've also got a section on services for LGBTQ youth and like the services that the Bill Wilson Center has and so forth. Within employment and job training, we've got information on unemployment insurance and assistance. So that's all of the assistance, for instance, that came from the federal government and from the state and so forth. How you could file or the link to like the state site that shows you how to file a disability claim if you ended up on disability because of the coronavirus. We have job fairs periodically. In fact, let me see if I can get to this. We've got one coming up in a couple of days. So this job fair is going to happen over 3 days, September 15th, 16th, and 17th. It's virtual, it's free, and it runs on those 3 days from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. And so each day we're focusing on different industries. So on Tuesday the 15th, it's going to be on business, finance, and technology companies. Wednesday, September 16th is on healthcare, government, public service companies. And then on Thursday, it's advanced manufacturing, construction, and trade companies. So this information is available from the Work to Future website, which is worktofuture.org. So now let me see if I can get back to this. And then they also do job training, and they have career coaching for people as well, which can be a really valuable, helpful service. Under health and wellness, we've got links to a lot of county sites that tell you about the different public health orders and the developments that have happened at the county and state levels, information on health insurance, and then also just information about how to care for children while sheltering at home and for older adults. And then this has been a really stressful time for people, so we've also got some resources there on how to manage stress and anxiety and where to go for help around domestic violence. And then immigrant resources, we've got some information on financial assistance for both documented and undocumented residents. For instance, the Sacred Heart program, unemployment benefits for people who've qualified for DACA. And then also, just so people know, most of the resources that are on the site are available to people regardless of their immigration status. And if you, just to reiterate also, if you go for coronavirus testing, one's immigration status doesn't matter, and people aren't asked about that, and the results of one's test are confidential and so forth. So, and then under the utilities and internet page, we've got information on all the different utilities that you might be paying, like garbage and recycling and water and PG&E and so forth, and links to the websites for those organizations and what services or programs they might have to help people pay their bills if they've experienced a reduction in their income and so forth. And then another section also just about digital access and ways that people who are finding that challenging can get help from the community. And pretty soon we'll be launching a family resources page that consolidates a lot of the resources I just talked about that are specific to families, as well as some resources on childcare and just ways to have fun and education resources that might help people as they're trying to both be their children's parent and their children's teacher and work from home or whatever. So, and then for people who, you know, cannot breach the digital divide, we've also put this information on a brochure. And so it's all the same resources, but instead of it being websites, we've put phone numbers on here. And so it covers all the same subjects, but this gives people phone numbers that they can call if trying to access this stuff on the internet would be a problem. And we've done it in Chinese and Vietnamese and Spanish as well as English. So these are available, and if like the Promodores are going door to door, we'd be happy to make these available for them to be able to pass these out if this would be useful. So let's see. And then people can also dial 311. So that's much like the county's 211 number. And we have a call center in the city, and you can describe your situation or your need, and they will document that and go find the answers to that and help you get the information that you haven't been able to find elsewhere. So just some other reminders for people is if you have not yet completed your census form, we really encourage people to do so, because that's going to have an impact on our community for years to come, not only in terms of what kind of representation we have, but also in terms of how much funding we're eligible to get for things like healthcare and education and so forth from the federal government and from the state government. And then whoops, didn't mean to do that. As was discussed earlier, we want to encourage people to get tested so that we can identify, you know, positive cases and get people quarantined before it's spread further, and get other people alerted if they have been exposed. And the county has a lot of services for people who do need to quarantine in terms of housing and food assistance and so forth. So if that's an issue for people, if people live in multi-generational households or whatever, there are services that can help with that. And then just to remind people to wear a mask. My mask protects you, your mask protects me. Remember to social distance, and if you don't need to be out and about, to stick close to home so that, you know, we can all protect ourselves. And last but not least is we're coming into the, you know, annual flu season, and we want to avoid having a twin-demic, not just a pandemic. And so we really want to encourage people to get flu shots. And the testing site at the fairgrounds is going to be offering free flu shots. And as was mentioned earlier, I think Gardner is, and there's going to be free flu shots all over the place. So we really want to encourage people to get their flu shots, and that'll help minimize the impact of the flu season on our healthcare system, so we can keep hospital beds and nursing staffs and medical staffs available for everybody who needs it, and try to minimize that. So if you, oh, well, this is just more about that we have that contact form, and you can write to us at covid-19help@sanjoseca.gov, and we'll help you with your information needs. So that's all for me.
All right, thank you for presenting that information.